Hello out there in internet land. It is time for the dev stream this week. Let's move on from the Hall of Infinite Johns to see what we're going to work on today. It's going to be one deck dungeon. Anyone out there in the chat? Hi chat. It's Cytosine. Welcome. Got my chat over here on the iPad, so it doesn't have to take up my screen. Welcome, welcome one and all. All right, so I'm going to turn down the music a little bit because I can turn it down a little bit here and then turn it up for you if you'd rather hear it a little more. Just want to lessen my ears. You're hearing my words repeating several times. Okay, I, will, try, not, to, do, that, on, this, stream. All right, so I guess first off I can show how the game is coming along. So let's do that and see some cool stuff. So let's play the game here. You might have seen a bit of the game being demoed by Jeremy last night on Sentinels Live. But what we're going to do is have a look here at how the game's looking and pick a few things to improve a little bit. So here we go. We're in the Yeti's Cavern and with the warrior. So you can see at the start of the turn now, it shows you that time is passing, little animation, which is nice. So one of the things I want to do today is work on a few things to make it more sort of visual cues about what's going on. So, so let's open a door and see what we get. It is Wraith, but not the other Wraith. That's different. This is actually going to be a really difficult encounter for the warrior. So I'm going to bravely run away. And let's see what's in a different door. An arrow wall. I can probably manage this a little better. At least I can just like roll for the magic shield and take the 2 damage and be fine. Why does that say there's 3 damage consequences? That's not true. There should only be 2. Unless, oh yes, the Yeti's Cavern is adding a heart to the consequences. So that is why. So I can reduce the time at least, but I'm going to take 3 damage. Alright, so a couple things happened there, and it all happened really quickly. So this is what I want, one of the things I want to improve here. So let's go back and see what I'm talking about. So I'm just going to continue the game. Let me maximize this here. So I'm going to continue the game right before I'm going to click end there, and so we can sort of repeat this sequence. All right, so we're going to end the encounter, and so what I want to see is like, why am I taking damage? Where's the time coming from? Right now, you know, we get the damage and there's an animation, which is nice, and the time happens, but we don't really get a sense of where that's coming from. And what I want is for that to come from the things that are happening. Since we have this little box here showing the consequences, we can have those things come from there and animate over from you're clicking down here, looking at this, and you'll see the hearts come from here and the time come from there. So let's do that. So what we want to look at is the actions that are associated with that. So what we're looking at are the take. I mean, there's an action for suffer consequences, but that's sort of an overall action that doesn't like specific like it that suffer consequences action happens, and then but it also has spend time action and take damage action inside of it. Let's do the time one first, because we've actually already done something similar to this. For the start of the turn, we have an animation where we're showing a panel and everything. And so let's do this here. So is there another spend time reason for consequences? Yes, okay. So let's do that for when you're suffering consequences. And that actually reminds me, I want to add a case for show time going from peril option payment to hourglass, because that's another thing. When you choose a peril option that has hourglasses on it, then that can cause time to be spent. Cool. So let's add another case here. And instead of having all the code sort of in this switch statement, I've broken it up into separate things. So let's see. Let's make a new method for doing this animation based on the consequences. All right, so when we're in this suffering consequences, what we can write a little comment here saying what we want to do. So we want to animate time icons going from the consequences panel to the hourglass. And this is kind of similar to what happens in this the start of turn action. Those icons move towards the hourglass, and so this is going to be a little different because we want to like actually create a new icon instead of moving the one that's there already. So I think we have an amount of time being spent that we can use here, so that's good to have. So what we're going to want to do is we need to have a connection between these things. Let's have a look at what we're going to do here. It's going to be happening in the encounter panel, and so we have the consequences panel down here, and we're going to want an icon basically to go from there to there. So let's go and so this is a thing that we could have a connection to from that action. So let's add a connection there. The spend time action is only going to be during the encounters. There's no time in the boss fight, so I don't need to worry about that. So we can add a connection here. Consequences panel. And we're going to want like a prefab that we can use as well. So we want to, it's going to be an image, I suppose. And we'll just call it an hourglass image icon prefab. And that was something we can use for other things as well. So let's go ahead and do that. So basically for each time spent, we're going to create an icon and animate it over there. And so we want to instantiate the prefab. We'll parent it just to the consequences panel. And And for now, we may adjust the position of it or do something a little different next, but we'll start with that. And then we're just going to have that move over to the hourglass. So we're going to move it to the hourglass transforms position. And this do move and position here are world coordinates, so we don't need to do any conversion. I don't know what the duration. Whoa, why my tooltips are going crazy. Do we have a duration for that time? Yeah, it's sort of hard-coded right now. Let me add a constant for that. Time icon move duration. Let's call it that. Cool. And then one kind of trick that I do when I do, so if I just did this right here, what would happen is, 3 or whatever number of icons would be created in the same spot and move all together. And so you wouldn't even know there were more than one. So what we want to do is add a slight weight in here. And I think this is something I need to have a constant for that, because this is all going to be controllable by your animation speed settings, right? We'll call this like delay duration, and this is just so you'll have a sequence of them going instead of them all going exactly together. Oh, and this is going to be the next. What I want here is this to be called move delay, not delay duration. Doesn't make any sense. Or really, interval is kind of a better word here, isn't it? Cool. So, and then at the end, when these icons get over there, we also want them to go away. So let's also, and we also want to scale them down. So let's do that. Scale to just basically small enough that they disappear. And at the end of it, we want to destroy them. So at the end of one of these here, we can put it on complete on the tween here, and we can destroy the icon at the end. Destroy icon.game object, and then they'll just go away on their own. Cool, and we don't necessarily need to wait any longer for these animations to happen. So I think I'm just gonna sort of let them. We'll see if we actually can get away without yielding, like without this coroutine taking any time if we want, by using a delay parameter, which we might actually want. Because right here, this code here is going to make the hourglass actually animate that, but we'll see how this looks, and because it might be actually not bad for it to take a little bit of time. So this code is all good here, I think. So let's, we still need to hook up this new connection we made, and we need to create this prefab, which is just going to be like an image of a certain size. So let's do that. So let's hook up that connection before we forget. We're going to go to the action views, and it's a spend time action. Oh, I have a code error I need to fix. Right, gotta put my break in. And now we're compiling. Cool, so consequences panel, we can do that. All right, so let's make a little prefab for that. we'll call it time icon. Why are we, oh, I see it. There's a layout here causing that to, move that in here. We'll just put it in the center. We'll say it's like 40 by 40. That seems like a good size. That's all based on a 1024 by 768 reference scale, so it'll adjust based on resolution. And let's give it an icon. The time icon. Cool. So there it is. So if we sort of look at how it looks, it's not, I mean, we might make it come from that spot, but we'll see. So let's make that a prefab here. And then we can delete that out of the scene, and we can hook it up onto the game action view here. Cool. So I think we should see something happening now. Let's see. So we end the encounter. Oh, we saw those things appear and fly over. It happened very quickly. Let's see if we can see it again, maximized here. Maybe it happened too fast. So the damage happened, that's one thing we want to do. And yeah, and they came over here and they like whipped over there. That was faster than, did I put the wrong values in here? Time icon, move duration. And I wonder if yeah, it started out, looks like it started out okay. That's like, one thing that you can do is just like increase your animations to like a long time and see if that, oh, you know, that other thing that, yeah, I think that should be okay. If you increase the animations to a long time, then you can sort of see what's happening sometimes. I have another thing that lets all the animations go really slowly, but I don't necessarily want to do that. Oh, they're going underneath that. That's why they sort of disappeared, because they're going underneath. And that has to do with, because the consequences panel is like behind another thing. If we look at the encounter panel here, yeah, that dice panel is on top, which it probably shouldn't be. So let's just, we can just do this, and then those will go over. We probably also want those to not do that. So let's add a component onto here, a canvas, and we can add a sorting. We can override the sorting to make sure that, yeah, this, I don't know if you can, it's kind of a funny thing, you don't get the override sorting unless it's actually in the scene. I wonder if it actually is going to save this. So let's put this like at 50, so it's going to go above other stuff. If not, we can add that in the code. And we'll save the project here. All right, let's see what that looks like now. Now they fly over, and of course we weren't waiting for it to happen, so it didn't wait for 5 seconds. So let's, and actually what we can do here is add another wait if we wanted for the move interval, for the move duration, but let's see what happens at that point 4 if that gives us a better indication of what's going on. Because we kind of want them to get over there at about when it starts sort of wiggling. Yeah, so those fly over probably too fast. Let's make that 1 second. And let's wait for it to finish, at least part way. Let's say half. Let's see how that lines up. You don't necessarily want to be slowing things down with animations, but you do want to be able to show what's going on. That's not too bad. Might be a little off. Let's try just like a smaller fraction of it. And we'll zoom it up and see it better. All right, so let's end the encounter. Get those zooming over. Yeah, that works pretty well, I think. Oh, gonna sneeze. Excuse me. You heard that on the stream before when I thought I was muted. All right, that was on the epic Sentinel's Night game. All right, well that seems not a bad animation there. We might tweak it a little more, but I think we can save our work here. So let's just save this and save the project, and we'll commit that. And we'll say add animation of spending time from encounter consequences. Cool. All right, so that's one of the things that I wanted to do. Now we also wanted to show the damage. So that's going to be similar, and we've seen that, you know, it just sort of blinks the damage up, and we do have the animation of damage, but you don't actually see the hearts go over. So that's going to be similar, where we're going to be looking at an action. So let's go to the damage action. I think it's take damage action view. So in this code, we do have some animation already where we do that. So and what this code is doing is looking to find out what type of damage. Is it magic or strength or agility, and that's determined by what type of dungeon box the damage is coming from. So I think what we want to do first is sort of send the heart. We want to send the heart over at the same time that animation is happening. This update damage tokens is actually just going to, that's just like, and here we can put in a break here so you can see what's happening here. So this update damage tokens is just literally going to make the view show the right amount of damage without animating. So let's see what happens here when we put a break in the middle of that. So we'll end the encounter. Right, so we paused here because of that, and so you can see we've got the 3 damage has appeared, on the card here, and these are just little just images. But we kind of want them to come from here as opposed to just appearing on there. So we can actually probably, instead of just telling it to do that, we can start them out over here, which is not a bad idea, and then just have them go to where they're supposed to go. So let's see if that's a thing we can do. And maybe this can, I wonder if this could, yeah, we could either, this is sort of a general method, just saying like show the right amount of damage that you have. But what we could do is add another method that says, you know, take or add this certain amount of damage to your view, which is I think what we want to do. So, what we want to do is create those tokens and animate them from where we want them to animate from. So let's, and I think it's fine if the hero card view is responsible for its own damage tokens. So let's add, what are those tokens there? Game objects, sure. Add damage token. And this is going to be just as simple as, and we'll give it a parent. Okay, so yeah, I'm thinking if we want, actually what might be even better is, because one of the, so this, the damage tokens are in this container here, and it has a grid, so it automatically lays them out for us. But if they're not in there, the grid won't sort of know where to render it. But if the tokens are here and invisible, then if they're there and invisible, they'll be laid out in the right place, and we can create like another one and animate to the same spot and then erase the duplicate. That might be a better way to do it. So let's actually do that instead. So what I want to do is, yeah, so for the animation, this update damage tokens could still occur, but then we can say make sure the right number of damage tokens are on the card. Then we can like take the last however amount of damage of them and hide them, and then create duplicates and put them over. Game development is all sleight of hand. Create temporary tokens for animation. So yeah, so I think we're gonna say for each, yeah, it's actually, there's like a certain number of them for amount of damage. We're gonna instantiate a token. We're just gonna instantiate the same one that the hero view has. Hero view.damage token prefab, and it's going to be the parent of it is actually going to be from the consequences, or from wherever, this is potentially wherever the damage is coming from, because I think the damage action can tell you like what caused the damage. Yeah, take damage reason. So but for now, let's just go with the consequences panel. And now we're going to actually have two consequences panel because there is one on the boss and there's one on the encounter. So we can connect to both of those, or both damage sources. And we'll say source parent, and we'll just hard code this for now, and we'll add a thing to switch what it is later. All right. So we want to create that token. Make sure it's active. And what I want to do is hide the other ones. So I want the hero view, the damage token, parents, get child. And we want to get the right one. So let's figure that in a second. So here we're creating the temporary tokens. We're going to move them over, and we're going to hide the other ones. So let's first actually hide. And what's easier is just if this returns us the ones that we want. And let's just do that. So this is going to just return back. Oh, but that's update damage tokens doesn't necessarily add. It could remove. So yeah, we'll just find them. So we're going to want to find the children at the end. So we're going to want to get the damage token parent, number of children, child count. And we are going to be subtracting the amount of damage and then adding I. So we're going to, if you're looking at indexing, we're like going to the end, but then going back for the amount of damage and then forward, like if we need to go forward. And this might need to be -1. Yeah, if there's one child, we want index 0, so we need to also -1. All right. Var, and we'll call this, we can call this dummy token. And we'll call this destination token. And we can need to have the right namespace. We don't want the game object to be inactive because then the layout will screw up, but we just want the image to be disabled. So we can run this code now. What we should see is we should have those dummy tokens appear on the consequences box, and the hero damage should disappear, or at least not, seemingly not appear, but it will be there, just hidden. We can verify that. And I still have my break here, so I should be able to inspect what's going on. Getting lots of interesting messages. Okay, so take damage action wants to have a connection to the encounter consequences panel. And we'll hook up the other one too, just while we're here. All right, let's hit play and see what happens. All right, I got an error. So everything stopped going where I wanted to. So let's see what the error is here. Transform child out of bounds. Oh, so what did I do wrong here? Let's just find out. And we can turn on this error pause, so it'll pause if we get an error instead of carrying on. Hooray for bounds checking. Index -1. Okay, then I probably don't need that -1. All right, we'll end the encounter again. Okay, so there's no damage tokens there, but they are actually there. Well, actually, here's the 3 that are on our consequences panel. They have 0 size, so that's something to figure out. And over here on the hero view, there they are. They have they're in the grid, but their images are disabled, so we can't see them. Okay, so where's that damage token prefab? Why is that 0 size? Let's just make it the same size that it's going to be. That'll save us some time. 25 by 32. And let's anchor it in the middle. Probably picked up some incorrect values from something. Okay, so now when I end encounter, yeah, so now I actually see them down here in the bottom on the consequence thing, and so we can do the animation that we want now. So basically what we want to do is we want to move the dummy token to where the real token is. And so we'll, why don't I have my, oh, I don't have the tweening thing in here. DG tween. And we want that to move to the destination token. And we can make a new constant because maybe this will want to be a little different. We'll call them damage icon move intervals and durations. And so over here, game constants dot damage icon move duration. We don't want to scale it here because we want it to just sort of slot into where it is. And we'll add another slight delay. All right, so that's going to move over there but we want at the end of the move, we want to get rid of it. So we can add an on-complete on here as well. We can't just do that like down in the code here because unless we wait long enough, we're gonna not sync up to what's going on. So, so here we want that destination token to the real one to appear, and we want the dummy token to be destroyed. And so one of the nice things about like these blocks, this inline block in here, it captures this variable so that the right things will happen. Cool, so we should see those things all happen, and then we'll break here. We're actually gonna break here in the middle of it, but we'll see what's happening and then we can resume. Oh, but I have an error. Oh, yes, I need a new keyword there. All right, so let's see what happens. Oh, yeah, those are all, as you can see, those are animating over. And then we paused. So let's see what happened. They just sort of, they went to their places. Okay, all went by way too fast. With the pause, it was hard to see. So let's get rid of that break and see what's happening here. Sometimes when the animation goes by quickly, even if it's not exactly lined up, that's kind of intentional because it fools the eye. Yeah, so interestingly, those didn't go like in the order I expected. And then those other things didn't appear. So what happened there? Those are there, but they didn't. I'm trying to understand what happened here. Let's play it again and see. All right, so we saw those. We saw the other tokens appear briefly, which I don't actually want that to happen, but that's okay. So here, those tokens are going like in a really strange order, like last one, first one, second one. So what's going on there? Hello, Level Up Leo. Make sure my index logs here made sense. 0, 1, 2, that makes sense. So what happened? One thing that this might not actually be capturing the variable like I think it is. That's possible. It could be overwriting that, and then we're like, but that doesn't really explain why they're going to the wrong places. Oh, and here this should be true, not false. That's part of what's going on. And that might be that'll be a clue if we don't see all three of them light up. But we do see all three of the dummy tokens get destroyed, so. Let's see. All right, so I think what might be happening is they weren't going exactly to the right spot because of the anchoring and everything like that. Which can be a little tricky. So what we can do instead, one of the things you can do instead of that is we can set the parent of the dummy token to that other thing, but then yeah, we end up with Z order problems with that. I wonder if I just make the anchoring on the prefab match up with what it expects, and then it's probably going to be okay. Damage token. Yeah. Because the anchor in the grid goes like that, so let's see if that improves it. That looks pretty good. So I don't like how it flickers there. Which it's kind of weird because there's no, like it's the same frame. Oh, it's not the same frame because we yield in here. Okay, we need to make sure that just needs to happen immediately. So disable all the new damage tokens. Yeah, so we need to do this part first. Because we don't. Yeah, and actually, instead of this yield, then why don't I don't like having a separate loop here. So what I can do is add a delay variable. And I'm just going to add that. Every time. So at the start here, and actually, yeah, we're not actually, yeah, that's going to be at the end. And then, so instead of a wait in the coroutine here, we're going to add a delay on the move, which I think we can just, yeah, set delay. And so each of these is going to wait before starting a little bit longer. And then we can make our coroutine wait afterwards here. For those delays to add up. And we might add a little more in here too. But let's have a look and see how it looks. And we could use that approach in the other spend time action if we wanted as well. But I just used the waiting mode there, or the wait for seconds instead. There's always more than one way to do things. All right, so let's end the encounter. So those went over there. They didn't quite go to all, they all went to the same spot now, and actually that might be, is that something I did there? They didn't all go to the different, they all went to the same spot instead of to different spots. I still have the right. Why are they going? They were all going to the same spot. Oh, I know. Okay. Because we do need to wait a frame before moving them, before figuring out the position. All right, so we do need to have another loop, unfortunately. Because when those are created, when those tokens are created, they don't get laid out to their correct position until one frame later. What I'm going to just do is add a parameter to this method, which is whether the image is going to be enabled, because then I don't need to have another loop. Enable image, and that's why they didn't quite go to the right spot at the same. And so let's just do this. Then we can just pass a parameter to that instead of dealing with this bit. Okay, so we create the damage tokens. Now we actually do need to wait a frame for them, the tokens, to lay out. And then this will work properly. Yeah, we don't need to worry about disabling the images. They start off disabling. And then we're creating the dummy tokens, and we're going to move it to where the real token is. Okay, this should work. When you're dealing with this sort of level of animation, you often end up with small things like that that you need to tweak to get it just right. Hey, look, they all went to the right spot. They didn't quite come from the exact right spot on the consequences box. One thing we could get away with that is like starting them out small and growing them. One of the reasons why it might be a little tricky to do it on the exact spot is because this is actually a text string with an icon in the text. So finding out exactly where that heart is might not be as easy as I think, but that looks pretty good. Actually, that whole sequence is looking pretty good. What do you think, chat? Let's play it again. And I'm going to end the encounter. I take 3 hearts, wham, 3 health, 3 time, blam. I also got dice for my heroic feat. That was associated with taking the health. That seems pretty cool. I enjoy that sequence. Still a little polish potentially here, but let's save this, and we'll have a look at that as a side thing here. So let's commit this though. Show encounter health consequences animating to hero, and this is actually not going to be 100% everything. I want to add a to-do here. Support damage source being something else, like the boss, which is going to be the next thing. But I want to see if it's possible to get where that is. So bear with me here. So the consequences panel label is Text Mesh Pro. I'm curious if there's a way to find out like where a character is in the label. The time icons are a little small. They are intentionally small. So yeah, it's probably not going to be easy to see them on the stream because of the frame rate, but let's see. First visible character is just a number. Get rendered values. Text info. I'm not seeing anything obvious. Like, one thing we can do is go to Google. Position of specific character in world space in Text Mesh Pro. TMP text info debug tool has some examples. Let's have a look. Maybe. I don't have that file. All right, well, that's sort of a polished thing that we can do another time potentially. Just something I thought I might look at. Looks like there is probably going to be a way to do it, but I don't know if I want to spend a lot of time on it. Yeah, lots of people asking questions and no answers. Well, that's fine. Right, so actually this isn't quite done because I want to do the boss consequences as well. So let's, and that's going to be pretty straightforward. I'm not even going to worry about necessarily testing it here. And what I'm going to actually do here is we're only going to do it if we're only going to do this animation if we have a place for to animate from. So let's actually put this up here and say damage reason maybe. Yeah, so for suffering consequences, the source parent is going to be based on whether we are fighting the boss or not. So we can ask the game controller, are we fighting the boss? If so, we're going to use the boss consequences panel. Otherwise, we're going to use the encounter consequences panel. And that's the only case we're going to deal with here. And so in other cases, we're just going to show the damage tokens without animating. And so here we need to check if we have a source parent, we'll do this animation. If not, we're not going to do the animation. So this will cut other cases we won't sort of crash on or have a weird effect. And then if we want to handle taking damage from other things, we can do that as well. So let's just make sure this still works here, but this will cover the boss case as well. And I would test that out, but I'm getting to the boss takes time, so I'll test it out later. I have an error. Oh yes. We only want the transform. Cool. And maybe I'll adjust those time icons to only start shrinking after they're gone halfway. So let's do this. I do this for some other things too. Instead of shrinking like linearly all the way, just start shrinking when you're halfway. Oh yes, set delay. There we go. The time goes across larger, and then when it gets halfway, it starts shrinking. Great. All right, so that covers those cases. And so let's commit those tweaks here. What we basically did was just, tweaks to animations. All right, so let's go back to our board and see what's next. So those consequences, oh right, there's also skulls for the boss one. I'll do that another time. What else can we easily do for this stuff? We could do something else. This is sort of, I think I've covered sort of this concept quite a bit. I'm just gonna be sort of doing more of it. So what time are we at? We're at an hour in. Let's see if there's something else I can do that's a little different. How about we start putting together a bit more of the end game screen that is right now super rudimentary, and maybe you'll have some suggestions for that. So why don't we just play this game and get killed and see what it looks like. Turns out it's not that hard to get killed in One Deck Dungeon. It's a really hard game. I mean, not killed, but to be defeated and lose. And we can see how these animations are looking as we proceed. So we have the Wraith here. We're just going to skip our heroic feat because we actually want to take as much damage as possible. Oh no, we're just going to take lots of damage. And we're going to go in here and we're going to get destroyed. Ouch. Game over, you lose. That's about all we have right here, but obviously we want this to be a little nicer and have a little more to it, so let's pull that up and add some more to that scene. So I'll work on making this scene a little more functional, and then Jennifer will take over onto it, not today, but maybe next week, but probably before that, and make it look cool. So all the scene has right now is just a couple labels. It's not very exciting. And let's see what we have from, I know we have a mock-up for this that Jennifer made, so some ideas. So one of the ideas she had was kind of this prison idea part, and this is actually something that we want to talk to Chris about, is sort of what's the story at the end of the game, and that will inform sort of how we show stuff. So we have this, potentially if you lose, maybe the hero's locked away by the monster, and if you win, maybe you've locked away the monster. Definitely a lot of, we never talk about like killing and dying and stuff in the story of One Deck Dungeon, and so something we want to figure that out. So that's something we will talk to Chris about. Let's see if there's another mock-up here that might have some ideas. No, I think those are the newest ones. So really the important information things from a programmer perspective here is we want to have, like, whether you won or lost, we want to have the name, probably the name of the dungeon. We want to have an image for the boss. We want to have an image for the hero. We probably also want to be able to show, like, if you lost to a glooping ooze or something, we want to show that as opposed to if you lost, you didn't actually get to the boss. So, and we want to show a few rudimentary stats, like how many encounters you defeated and that sort of stuff. So let's put in something that's reasonable here, and then Jennifer will take my terrible stuff and make it look great. Right, so I have a little checklist here: show the hero, show the dungeon, show the encounter that caused the game over, show the boss that caused the game over. Are sort of the two things, I guess. So yeah, so let's we'll put those elements in and program it so that they happen, and then we'll go from there. And that will probably be the end of the stream, getting those things in. So if I run this scene by itself, there's no game, so it doesn't actually do anything, and it just gives me like a warning. So let's go and basically allow it to, if this if this information from the end of the game is null, we are a developer. That's basically the case. So, so what we're going to do is set up some variables here that we can use to control when we're testing what we see. So, so we want to have an ending result, and great. So basically, I'm moving this code out of here to down here. So if we have this endgame data container, which will have the endgame information, we can populate that. But if we don't, we can populate it how we want. We can say the result is whatever we want. It's ending result that you win. And so then when I go and run it, I can have whatever I'm testing with instead of just having an error. As much as errors are nice. Null reference. Oh, I probably didn't. Right, this needs to switch on my variable there instead. That's not the error I want. Game over, you win. So that's based on that code that I did there. So let's add a few more elements here. We're going to want, and I'm just going to sort of throw them in here, and then Jennifer can arrange them in a nicer way. We're going to need an image for the hero, and we're going to need an image for probably the boss, or maybe just sort of the, yeah, I'm not 100% sure how we're going to do everything, but I'm just going to make images for the different things, and we can organize them later. We'll make it functional. All right, so, and we'll add a label for the dungeon label. We'll add a label for the hero. All right, let's make this a little bigger. We'll put this game over text up at the top for now. We'll put this description, doesn't really have much to it besides you win or you lose right now. We'll put the hero over here. And the hero's name can go underneath. And we'll put the boss over here too. Actually, I'm just going to call this enemy image, and we'll use the same one for either the encounter or the boss. And if we need to have separate ones, we can do that later. All right, so we're going to center that, and we have our menu button. Cool. Okay, so there's a really rough screen layout, and now we need to be able to populate these things. So let's get back to our script and hook these things up. We need to know about the UI, and so we have hero image, enemy image, we have a hero label, the enemy label. All right, so, and we can just put in some of these things. So we're gonna want hero identifier, enemy identifier, hero name, enemy name. Can I spell enemy? All right, so for our testing here, we can fill in things just hard-coded. Come on. We'll say the enemy identifier. All right, we're gonna, that's enemy identifier is a little different. Hero name equals mage as well. Okay, let's just do the hero first. So and actually here we might have two heroes because we'll have support for 2 hero games. But for now we're just doing one, so we'll just implement that right now. But here we're actually going to get the hero identifier from the game. So the game controller, the game over action, we can actually make a shortcut to that. So we're going to need it. Game controller. We're just going to get the first hero and use it. We'll just say hero card controllers first. Come on. I'm missing my namespaces. And the hero name is hero.name. Title, okay. All right, so down here we can say hero name, hero label, text equals hero name. Cool. And we want to load an image for the hero as well. So I don't know if we have any set up in resources right now. We can just use a sprite sheet. Yeah. Oh, compiling. All right, let's hook up our properties here. The hero image, the enemy image. Call that the enemy. All right, that's a different, actually dungeon label is something different I want to create. And the hero label. So if I run this now, I should at least see it say mage. As exciting as that is. Cool. All right, so we should be able to actually have, I think we have a sprite sheet with all the images of the heroes. So we need to use that and add sprite atlas, hero sprite atlas. And let's connect another for encounters sprite atlas and boss sprite atlas. Cool. All right, and so the hero image, the sprite, we can get it from hero sprite atlas get sprite based on the hero identifier. So we're going to need to hook those up. But we can find, I think, there's a card. We'll just use these arts right here, but I'm sure Jennifer will create some new cool stuff for the real version of the screen, but we can actually at least have it functional. Hero Sprite Atlas is there, and I think we have, yeah, we can put in these, the Encounter Sprite Atlas and the Boss Sprite Atlas. Which we're not using yet, but we'll hook those up in the code in a second. Cool, so there's the mage. That is not the right aspect ratio. Just getting a little squashed. What is the aspect ratio of those? I don't remember. But we'll just make it closer to what it is. Jennifer can make it exact. All right, so we also want to figure out what you either won to or lost to. So that was kind of the easy stuff, is the heroes is going to be the same no matter what. The enemy is whatever you lost to. And we can also have enemy sprite atlas, so we know which one to look it up in. So here we'll say, let's for our testing, we will say it's enemy identifier glooping ooze. And so we will set, and the enemy name. Enemy image. And that's going to be the enemy sprite atlas. Get sprite enemy identifier. That's for, so we got our testing one here, but then, or the boss if you won. So if result is the heroes win, the enemy sprite atlas is going to be the boss. Actually, we can choose the sprite atlas based on this game controller thing. So the enemy sprite atlas is game controller.is current challenge boss. If so, it'll be the enemy, or sorry, the boss. Otherwise, it's going to be the encounter. Question mark. And I guess the enemy identifier, the enemy itself is going to be either the boss or, I guess I can just use this current challenge controller. I guess the question is, can I always get its like real identifier? The identifier, I don't want like skeleton invisibility or whatever I want. Yeah, I guess we can say if enemy.isBoss, enemy identifier equals, I guess it will just be the boss's identifier. And I guess we can do this and see what we get, because I'm curious. I think if it's a foe, or if it's going to be the wrong thing if it's a non-boss, but that will at least give us something. We'll find out what it's doing. So if we run this here, we should at least see my testing glooping ooze, and then we can give it a try and see what happens from a real game. There's the glooping ooze. Cool. All right, I don't think I have a continue file. Well, I guess I do. Because right. For testing, I don't erase these files. So we can actually quickly iterate on this by loading that file from the game view, and it'll take us straight to the end game. So we should see a goblin at the end. That's my goal. It worked. It worked great. Look at that. The warrior lost to the goblin. And if I lost to a boss or beat the boss, the code is in there, but I haven't tested that out yet. But that's pretty good. And that's kind of the basics of what we need to have in the end game screen there. So we have the hero. We don't have the dungeon, so actually that's something we can do. We have the encounter, we have the boss, the code is in there. Showing the dungeon, yeah, we want to show like a banner showing which dungeon it was, so let's add that in too. And let's add another label here. And I'm just gonna move these things all down a little bit. And I guess this can go over here, I don't know. Jennifer has some ideas for what this is gonna be, so. Dungeon name. And this can be enemy name. Okay, so we have the dungeon label, we need to hook it up and populate it. And so we have the dungeon name. In testing, it's going to be, let's call it Dragon's Cave. And here the dungeon name is going to be, there's always just one dungeon, and we'll just get its title. And then finally, the dungeon label.text equals dungeon name. So we should see my testing thing here, and then we can go verify it by going from the game as well. Nope, I forgot to hook up the connection here. There we go, the Dragon's Cave. All right, so let's go test it out. I think this is going to be it for the stream, so if anyone has any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat. And because I'm going to be wrapping up here in about 5 minutes. All right, we're going to lose to the goblin here in the Yeti's cavern. Yep, that is what it says. So nicely done. You can go to the main menu and try again. Actually, it goes back to the first screen that you were at, which in development here was the game view. So that's a good way to iterate it quickly, actually. So yeah, there's certainly more we could show on the end game screen. Like we can show like how much health you had. We could show, you know, all kinds of different stuff, stats and things like that. But for a basic screen, that is definitely hitting the bar. So let's add that in here. Add basic information to end game screen. It's a little more than you win or you lose. So. And we can go over to the Trello board and mark that. Basic stats, we'll see what we want to do there. make it look nice is going to be for Jennifer. But as I said, we're going to discuss with the designers of the game a bit more about that. All right, so that's going to be about it for the stream today. Thanks for watching. It'll be on YouTube, and if you couldn't fully watch it, if you're watching on YouTube, hello on YouTube forever. Yeah, thanks for watching, Cytosine and everyone, and we will be back hopefully next week with another different dev stream showing you how things are going on One Deck Dungeon. That's going to be it for today, so we'll see you next time.